You guys are watching NFL Daily. I am your host, Tom Downey. It's a mailbag. All your questions answered live here on today's show, although I will make note, there were a couple super chats we missed last week, so we're getting it corrected today. Jimmy Productions, my friend, who are the realistic names the Cowboys could trade for? I think more realistic names is maybe someone like a Denzel Mims with the Jets lower their asking price. Maybe they shop for offensive line help, as tough as it is to find that. The big sexy names have not been the Cowboys' M.O., and I can already hear Stephen Jones saying, we had our reinforcements come when Dak came back from injury. And that's what they did last year, by the way, when they got some players back from injury, and we know how that went in the end. Another one from Jimmy Productions. You think some teams could call the Cowboys about Dak or Rush this offseason, and what could they get for one of them? So Dak is under contract next year. I find it very difficult to see a trade happening. If Dak plays well, you're not going to trade him. If he collapses, which I'd be shocked by too, this year, then nobody wants to trade for him. Then again, Carson Wentz got dealt, but that still seems unlikely. Cooper Rush is actually a free agent, so I would not anticipate either of those guys being moved in the offseason unless Rush leaves in free agency, which I think is quite possible there. And then from Jimmy Productions, a third time, my guy, DJ Moore to the Colts or Titans. I don't foresee the Colts throwing another asset at receiver. I think they got a good player in Alec Pierce, Michael Pittman too. I think you just got to replace Paris Campbell potentially. I don't think they want to. That's not the typical MO of that front office. Tennessee should have interest. If I were the Titans, I'd be calling. I also know that the Panthers should say, okay, you got a first and a third for A.J. Brown. Cool. Give us more. It makes no sense for Carolina to trade away a 25-year-old receiver with 3,000-yard seasons under his belt for anything less than a king's ransom, because that is the guy you build your team around, not trade away to then spend the first-round pick immediately on again. So, look, I know everyone wants DJ Moore. I would not get your hopes up from that standpoint. So what do you think? Will the Panthers trade DJ Moore? I say no, but I want to hear from you guys in the comments section. It's the pinned comment, actually, on today's video. So if the ad break comes here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Y for yes, N for no. All right, some more super chats here from Kyle Donovan. Much love, Tom. Thank you, Kyle. How are my Jags favored against the Giants? Always with the way we've played. I think what Vegas is thinking is A, home field advantage, and some semblance of regression to the mean. The Giants have won games not making mistakes. And that is a testament to how awesome their coaching staff is. Nothing but praise here from the Giants. The Jags have made some bad mistakes and lost some games. I think Vegas thinks they'll bounce back, and the Giants have a bit of a regression game themselves. This strikes me as a Vegas nose game because the Giants should be favored, right? And when I see that happening, when it goes, that's not what I would have thought, I go with Vegas. They tend to know from that standpoint. Jose Mora, Taylor Moton, however you pronounce his last name, to the Dolphins. Would be a great trade for Miami. I don't think the full-on fire sale that some expect to happen in Carolina is actually going to happen. If you trade away Taylor Moton, guess what Carolina needs? Another offensive tackle. So whatever pick they get back, they are then spending on a tackle. And that's not how teams want to operate. They don't trade away players who are young and fit their timeline and create a gaping hole at one of their spots. That's their only proven offensive lineman I would really consider. Ekwonu will get there, but he's young still. That's your best offensive lineman. I don't think they're going to trade him away. Now, if they do make trades, we will have you guys covered right here on NFL Daily. Hit that big red button and subscribe for free NFL YouTube videos every single day right here at Chat Sports. Hit that big red button right now. Lion Fighter X, OBJ ain't going anywhere cold. Candy corn is trash. LOL, go Birds. We had a candy corn discussion earlier. Good, bad, man. You can let me know in the comments, GB or M. I don't know if the cold matters that much, Odell Beckham. He's played on only one warm spot. Cleveland and New York are not warm places. Now, I think if it's even, pick the warm weather, right? He wants some money and playing time and a chance to win a ring, and that could be met particularly in Buffalo or even in Green Bay. $10 now from Brandon Jasper. Thank you, Brandon. If the Raiders go 1-5, do they start shipping players? I think they should consider it. If you drop to 1-5, you're not a contender. You're not going to be able to make a run in the AFC, even if the AFC West is not nearly as good as we thought it was going to be this year. But yeah, if anyone wants Clelin Ferrell, trade him away. Maybe you consider shopping Josh Jacobs if you're going to go into full-on sell mode. The players who aren't going to be here next year or even a year after that, you strongly consider shopping. Guys like Carr and Adams, no, of course not. Keep your core around. But those other secondary pieces, yeah, you shop those guys. Now, if you want to make some money betting on sports, football, MLB, NBA's back now, NHL's back too, BetUS has you covered. Chatsports.com/bet. Promo code NFL Daily gets you 125% deposit bonus. You bet on the Heisman and first overall pick as well, right? A lot of great odds from that standpoint here. C.J. Stroud, the first quarterback drafted, plus 150. Quite interesting from that standpoint there. Risk 10 to win 15. Bryce Young, risk 10 to win 20. First player drafted, Will Anderson, plus 325. Beyond that, major potential earnings there. Do it BetUS. Chatsports.com/bet. Promo code NFL Daily. Shamari Peoples, in your opinion, what is the biggest need for the Patriots? To me, it's corner or wide receiver or middle linebacker help. I'll say this. I thought corner entering this year was going to be a pretty big need. I have been pleasantly surprised with how guys like Jonathan Jones and Jack Jones in particular have played. I probably wouldn't play Jalen Mills if I could avoid it. Linebacker is sure. Jawan Bentley does what they want him to do in terms of taking on blocks, so it's fine from that standpoint. Offensively, receiver makes sense. I feel like they could trade away Isaiah Wynn, look for a new tackle, and yeah, you still don't have that real number one receiver, but it's tough to find those guys if you're New England. Brandon Jasper, again, a $5 super. William Jackson would be fire for the Raiders. I think it'd be a fun fit. If you want to go buy someone, a corner does make sense there, but I also don't think the Raiders are going to be buyers. I agree with your earlier super chat there, Brandon. Sellers makes more sense for Vegas, unfortunately. All right, Eli Rodney. Should the Saints trade Michael Thomas for a first-round pick? Here's the thing. Who's going to trade a first-round pick for Mike Thomas right now? Since 2020, played in 10 games. That's it. 56 catches for 609 yards and 3 touchdowns. That is not the dominant slant and short route receiver Thomas who was uncoverable in his prime. He has been consistently injured. He's been banged up. There's been whispers of attitude problems with him and the coaching staff. Mike Thomas is not worth the first-round pick. Not with that contract at this point. So because of that, it makes it a little bit tricky to work out in the end. Now, I want you guys to drop a name for me in the comments section of a player you want your team to trade. Whether you're a buyer or a seller, I'm sure there's someone you don't like on this team. Let me know in the comments section who you want your NFL team to trade. Super chat from Tristan Bravo. Do you think the Bucs will turn it around? And do you think Luke, I think Gedeke, I think is how you pronounce his last name, is the answer at guard or no? I liked him coming out of college. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. He has been a disaster along the offensive line. It has been a huge problem up front. Everyone was so worried about Ryan Jensen going down, but I think Robert Hainsey's played fine. But Gedeke at guard, with Aaron Steiny, however you pronounce his last name, banged up, has been a real problem. I'm not out on Gedeke quite yet, but they should be looking at trade options at guard if they can, if only for a short-term vet, because it's been bad for him, unfortunately, at guard. So hopefully he's the answer, but early returns, bad. And the one thing Brady hates more than spending time with his family is interior pressure in his face. I wasn't sure if I was going to do it or not, but I went with it anyway. I thought about it. I said, screw it. Why not? Since Nate Hobbs is out, can the Raiders get TJ Carey on a one-year deal? They can. Carey, of course, is a former Raider himself. I think he's on the Ravens. No, he was on the Ravens practice squad briefly this year. He's still a free agent. You can get him if you want. I don't know if that fixes your issues, though. You might want a better piece at corner / maybe you just embrace the tank for a year. From Thomas Harry, Bradley Chubb trade coming since the Broncos are bad. Big name, but actually a decent name to consider. Denver has been a colossal failure, if we're being honest, so far this year, led by Nathaniel Can't Hackett. Chubb's been very productive for Denver, but they paid Randy Gregory big money. They have Baron Browning also impressing now that he's a full-time edge rusher. Nick Bonito was a second-round pick. Jonathan Cooper flashed some last year. If they're not going to pay Chubb, which maybe they just say, screw it, we'll do it and have all the edges because that's what John Elway loves, then yes, they should, because you could get a premium pick back in Denver. You might need a premium pick from that standpoint. The biggest NFL disappointments so far this year. Let me know in the comments section. Denver certainly checks out. There are plenty. Drop a team name or player name in the comments. Michael Mathis, why isn't Tariq Woolen getting much love from anyone? He's a lockdown, late-round pick, making a case for, I think you meant defensive rookie of the year. Yeah, Tariq Woolen, the Seahawks corner, for those of you unfamiliar, has been awesome this year. There have been a little high on the penalties, but a lot of interceptions. I was very surprised that Woolen, who's this big, long, lanky, and fast corner, went in the 5th round. It didn't make any sense. I'm going to pull up where I had him on my big board, by the way, here, since we'll give him some love. I have been very impressed. I know Tyler Jones, our Seahawks report host here, Seahawks Today host here, has been effusive in his praise. Honestly, I think perhaps the best day 3 pick so far. I'm looking at my cornerback rankings right now. I had Woolen as a top 64 player in this class. 3rd round grade, but he was 64th overall. I am shocked. I had him above Kobe Bryant, even the Seahawks took before Woolen. I was surprised he went so late. I'm also impressed with how good he's been. Alongside Derek Stingley and Ahmad Sauce Gardner, those 3 corners have been incredible for their teams so far this year. True Lore, well, what should the Niners do with the offensive line? Sign or draft? Maybe both. Money will free up if you don't retain Jimmy Garoppolo next year. You want to keep throwing draft picks as well, because try to find some late-round gems if you're lucky. I would definitely do both if I were San Francisco. How much longer does Trent Williams have? That's got to be figured out as well.